Tom Allen, high on emotions, low on wins in the Big Ten at just 4-14 his first two seasons at Indiana. MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, on IU football. Next. All right, everyone, lock yourself in for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis of college football right here at MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. We bring in the best bloggers, broadcasters, and writers in the nation, and, of course, analysis from myself as well. Share the video, subscribe, like, and comment, and if this is your first time checking out the channel, look over the library of videos, and I believe you will be convinced. We're talking Indiana football. The Crimson and Cream finished up with their spring finale last Saturday, and I took it in and took these notes. We've got a new offense under head coach Tom Allen and, of course, the offensive coordinator Kalen DeBoer, who comes in from Fresno State. PEYTON RAMSEY most likely is going to win the starting quarterback job. He's been there and has much experience in the system. 66% completion percentage, 19 touchdowns, 13 interceptions for PEYTON RAMSEY. Mobile quarterback, good arm, decent player. Certainly, this DeBoer offense, though, is going to be different from previous Indiana additions that were highly influenced by Kevin Wilson, that, of course, had a strong running game but threw the ball all over the lot as well and played at an up-tempo pace. The DeBoer offense, expect less tempo when everybody else is cranking up the tempo, less plays, more huddling, more tight end and H-back use. Also, more downfield throwing, less dink and dunk underneath, less bubble screens, and the like. More progressions downfield, more reads for PEYTON RAMSEY downfield off the play action as well. Ramsey hit on 25 of 37 in the spring game with a touchdown. Impressive safety read on the touchdown throw, but also threw a bad interception on a poorly thrown ball. Just sailed it high over his intended receiver, right to safety Ashawn Riggins. Michael Penix has been suffering with an ACL. He was able to play in the game, but when they put him on the field, they ran 7-on-7 drills to protect his knee, and Penix hit on 8 of 15 passing downfield. Indiana also has, in a sense, even though PEYTON RAMSEY is the overwhelming choice at quarterback, at this point, Utah transfer Jack Tuttle, who had to sit out the spring game due to illness but has participated in spring drills. He's a former four-star recruit out of high school. All right, Indiana, with all the passing downfield, is obviously going to be less reliant on the running backs and the underneath stuff, more downfield using those big-bodied receivers. And Indiana, despite their issues in trying to win in the Big Ten in recent years at 4-14 under Tom Allen, has been able to find some of the better receivers in the Big Ten in terms of productivity. Ty Freifogel had the touchdown reception from PEYTON RAMSEY. He caught 29 last year and 3 touchdowns. Donovan Hale is 6'4". He's a good-looking player, productive last year, 42 catches and 6 touchdowns. And we all know Nick Westbrook as well, 42 catches and 4 touchdowns. Running back Stevie Scott is one of the best in the Big Ten. He ran for 1,137 yards last year, 10 touchdowns. He sat out, and that was as a freshman, his productivity in 2018. Stevie Scott back as a sophomore. Cole Guest as well. It's the deepest backfield that I can remember at IU in forever. There's always been the guy, the Tevin Coleman, the Jordan Lynch, the Anthony Thompson, going way back to the late 80s, early 90s. But in terms of depth of backfield, Stevie Scott, Cole Guest, Ronnie Walker, after a freshman season of running for 141 yards and 2 touchdowns, he's in the mix. And also, they are very high, our Hoosier fans and the coaching staff, on Samson James, their top recruit. Running back coach Mike Hart, obviously a big player at Michigan, demands much of this group, and they should deliver in a big way. Let's go to the defense, where Kane Womack is the defensive coordinator, and while there's going to be less tempo on offense, less speed of plays on the defensive side, they're emphasizing speed. This has been one of the slowest defenses traditionally in the Big Ten and in recent times. They have recruited for speed. Speed, speed, speed. Tom Allen has emphasized that, and Tom Allen is so high on this defense that he made the statement last week that he expects his defense to rank in the top 25 in the nation. We'll see if that plays out against the likes of Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, etc. And when I think of Indiana defense and think of them being upper echelon, the game that comes to mind is the game against Wisconsin about 4 or 5 years ago. This is the microcosm of Indiana defense recently, where they gave up 83 points and their defensive backs wanted nothing to do with the Badger tailbacks, whoever it was at the time, James White, Monte Ball, Melvin Gordon, whoever it was, wanted nothing to do with that offensive line and those tailbacks coming out of the backfield. 83 points on the board. But the Indiana defense has been better in recent years. They just can't win that game. They can't get over the Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State hurdle. They did beat Michigan State a couple years ago, but generally unsuccessful against Sparty as well. Can't beat the good teams, even though they almost always play them extremely tough. Double OT against Michigan a couple years ago. Have lost one-score games to the Wolverines a number of times in recent years. Have taken Ohio State. Maybe they get sidetracked in the fourth quarter, and there's some score separation in the fourth quarter, but playing Ohio State very tough for 3 quarters traditionally, and they almost beat Penn State last year as a one-score game, came down to the final drive as well in that game. This is the best recruiting class coming to Indiana in the history of recruiting rankings. 38th in the country. Tom Allen, of course, high on that. It's an inexperienced defensive line led by Jerome Johnson's 3.5 sacks coming back. They're also high on one James Head on the defensive front. The leader of the defense is in the backfield, safety Bryant Fitzgerald. We also talked about Ashawn Reagans, who had the interception off Ramsey in the spring game. Juwan Burgess and Khalil Bryant with 38 tackles last year. That's the core. That's the heart. That's the most experienced and most productive side of the defense. In terms of a unit, is definitely the secondary. They were well fortified in the back. The one thing I didn't mention about the offense that's goes to play calling, I think more than anything, situational football. This team, Indiana last year, ranked second in the Big Ten in first downs. They moved the ball. But they were 12th in the Big Ten and 105th in the nation in red zone efficiency scoring. Awful. If they can convert just some of that into points, that could make a huge difference in a team, again, that has lost to Purdue in the final game of the season to drop out of bowl consideration at 5-7. They had that shot against their arch rival to get to postseason play the last 2 years and couldn't get it done in losing one-score games to finish with only 5 wins. So Indiana, more efficient on offense with a slowed-down version of the Kevin Wilson system. And then on defense, they think they're much faster and capable of handling offenses in the Big Ten. My look at Indiana football. Would love to know what you think of the Hoosiers. What is their record going to be here in 2019? Another repeat of 5-7, 5-7, or do they make it back to postseason play here this fall? Right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. See you next time.